Okay, kia ora e te whānau. We are live tonight for another Q&A, and we have our second panel in a series on how young people have faced the challenges of COVID. I'm coming to you from Aotearoa, Hamilton, and want to acknowledge Waikato Tainui as the mana whenua of the land where I am, and Kingi Tuheitia. My name's Gemma. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Seed Waikato. I use she, her pronouns. And tonight I am here with Josiah Tualamali'i from the Psychotherapists Board of Aotearoa and Luke Taylor from Tailored Health and Performance. We're going to have an epic kōrero tonight about what mental health means for us right now and how we balanced looking after ourselves before COVID and how habits have changed. So thanks for tuning in. Josiah, I want to just introduce you first, and we'll jump into a conversation with you first. Luke will hear from you in a tick. But I just want to intro you, Josiah. Josiah is a seriously impressive mental health advocate, and I actually had the pleasure of meeting Josiah a couple of years ago during the government inquiry into mental health and addiction, and that was a real privilege and honour, really, to be able to connect at that point in time. He's previously co-founded and chaired the Pacific Youth Leadership and Transformation Council, and now sits on the board of the Psychotherapists Board of Aotearoa. He's also a youth advisor for the Lancet Commission on Depression in the UK. So, kia ora, Josiah.
Well, Gemma. It's good to see you again and the Seed whānau. Can I just say thank you so much before we begin, because what you and the community you're amongst pulled together when you shared your voice with the government inquiry in 2018 meant so much. All of the stories that were shared, it's so hard to go to that place and to be open about what's going on for us, but when we do it in the spirit of trying to make things better for other people, that is the most special thing we can do. So I just thank you so much. Thank you all so much.
There were so many of us that came together for that, so thank you for that acknowledgement. How's things in your neck of the woods? It's been an interesting couple of months, hey?
It has. Well, I'm very blessed to be here in Otautahi in Christchurch on Ngai Tahu Whenua. And so, I'm living with my flatties and out near the university, and we were locked down here. I was here with my Lego and with Groot and other fun things. We didn't have a teddy for the window, so it was Groot in the window. But we looked after each other, which was how we got through.
So good. I know that obviously you're a member of the mental health inquiry, and now you're on the psychotherapist board and a youth advisor and champion for mental health overseas. How have you seen our mental health needs change between and before the global pandemic and now that it's here?
Yep. Well, when I was getting support for depression, when I was in a really difficult space a couple of years ago, I think it was 2017, when I went and saw a counsellor for the first time. No, it was much earlier than that. Sorry, 2014 was the first time. I went and saw her face to face, and her name's Andrea. She's amazing. But I guess I went to see her. I got the opportunity to see her, and probably the biggest change I saw around the world was that we had to support each other in a way that you might not get that opportunity to see the person you're wanting to support. In some of the other countries that I've been connecting in with, they haven't had the privilege that we've had to be able to make Zoom calls because of internet that's not as strong as ours, or other, or maybe even distance. In some of the more rural communities like here, your neighbour feels even further away than where they were to begin with. So I think that's probably been the biggest thing. And at the same time, we've also had the benefit of maybe some of the, who is it who really helps maintain our well-being? It's the people that we love and that care for us, and we care for them. And I know that lockdown wasn't a great experience for everyone, but for a lot of us, it reminded us of how precious those relationships are.
So true. And just how much we lean on them in the good times and the bad. Yeah. the tough times, the challenging times. I know in our office, your video series of saucy songs with Josiah, which you did over level 4, were a big hit. How did recording cover songs with your flatmates support your mental health?
I should have brought the piano, shouldn't I? I should have pulled it out and had a song prepared. But I needed that so much. I travel normally quite a lot, and yeah, to not be able to go and be part of some of the work I'm doing overseas or some of the work I'm doing around the country, to not even, I wasn't in the same bubble as my parents, and that really sucked. And yeah, I just missed, like I'm Samoan, I'm part of our Pacific communities here, and so many of our meals, our celebrations, our tangis, our funerals, those, we couldn't do any of that. And so performing and trying to show a little bit of myself that people didn't know and make fun of myself seemed to resonate. So it was a lot of fun. I started to run out of clothing options at the end, but I ended up having to, I don't know if you saw the one where I was wearing a gardening bag, but you make do, mate.
And fun is the word in there, eh? Like I definitely had a sense that people were just longing for a little bit of joy, a little bit of lightheartedness, and that's totally what that did.
And that's, like, if I could add one thing there, like I love Lego, and I was showing you some of my Lego before.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who loves Lego here. But I quite like their philosophy on mental health. They just say that play is about mental health, and sometimes I think we get a bit focused on what the doctors and the nurses might do, and we need that, but actually that's part of it as well. And so I love what you're saying about fun.
Since Malachi came along, my son's now 11 months, every day he just reminds me of just how much wonder and curiosity and fun there is in the world that I'm in as well. And I'm just like, things aren't so serious all the time, Jim. I love that reminder that he brings around that, and I was so grateful to have him during lockdown reminding me about play daily. I really resonate with that. So I'm wondering, do you think level 4 and COVID in general has made us reflect or reevaluate what we do, even on a day-to-day basis, to look after our mental health?
Yep, definitely. I've seen so many people stop doing what they were doing before, or want to, leave a job, change where they think the future is. I mean, for me, I've really cut back my travel. I now will opt for a Zoom call or something else instead of that, because I actually want that time with family. So, yeah. And I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we constantly reflect on what's important for us. And sometimes, we get caught up in things that we don't intend to take up our time, and we don't realize what that it does to our well-being. And so it's just, trying to be as intentional as we can. And when we do get caught up, we give ourselves the space to wind out of that if we want to. Because like we found with lockdown, that change, when we decide to make change, if we're not giving ourselves the grace to have mistakes as we're getting along that path, we become very unhappy about that. And so we want to try and maintain the excitement about those changes in our life we want to make, but then at the same time not live to resent them. Run towards rather than run away. I've often found someone mentored me talk about.
I love that, and I think something I read during lockdown that really supported me was the obstacle is the way, and to not avoid those difficult and challenging situations that were coming up, because there was so much space to reflect and to be and to sit with, and that there was a bit of uncomfortableness that was coming up for me in particular, and things that I had been avoiding by being busy. And you remove the busy and you're sitting and confronted with what you've been trying to distract yourself from, and you're like, what do I do with these feelings? I love how you framed it up. It's about being kind to yourself as you start to realize those things and honor the changes you want to make.
Yep. And one of the ones that I struggled with was sitting at the dinner table and not using my phone. And, but it's all part of us being our best selves, eh?
On the journey too. Yeah, totally. Okay, I think I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What are the positive changes you hope to see come out of COVID and our response to it so far? Let's dream big.
Okay, probably there's two things. One of them is that I hope, and if I was to wave a magic wand, I'd love to see that health, when we think about health and well-being, we don't forget about our minds. Yeah, I mean, it's probably quite a simple thing to say, but a lot of how well-being is set up and around the world is just about the physical, and that's important. But actually, yeah, we've got those other parts of us that might not. Our mind's not separate from our body, and that's pretty much it. And it's part of it too. Wairua and Wairua. It's been nice seeing people like Reverend Frank Ritchie from Up Your Way and others try and spark those conversations during lockdown on Twitter and Facebook and other things. And so I just encourage us, like find those bits that are important and draw on all of them. And the other one is that I'd love to have a mentally healthy politics. And I'm not sure how we jump on board with some of the things that the advocacy that needs to happen to get the right outcomes for things without delving to that dark place. I've seen some people do it really well, like I like what Ben and Jerry's was doing in the last couple of weeks around Black Lives Matter and how it really meant something to them. Except though, the other side of that discussion might not have held that very well, and some people just stopped engaging with that product altogether. So I guess there's got to be a better way to have these debates, and it's been nice seeing some of our politicians in the last week or so acknowledge that they're not bulletproof and that their mind isn't got all the support they need, and their family needs are more important. And so I appreciate that role modeling and much awhi to them.
Totally. Oh, that's a beautiful aspiration to end on there. If you're tuning in and have a question for Josiah, please pop it in the comments and we will come back to it shortly. Thank you so much, Josiah. What I'm going to do is just put you into our waiting room and bring Luke back in for another little corridor, and then we'll come back together at the end and go through any other questions that have come in. So we will talk to you in a moment. And kia ora, Luke. Yay.
I'm back.
I realised I didn't introduce you before, so I'm going to do that now. Kia ora and welcome, Luke. Luke actually is here in Hamilton and has spoken at one of our Seed Waikato events before, which has been pretty cool. But Luke, you started the Health Hub here in Hamilton, and that came from being unable to find answers to your own health struggles by uncovering the root cause of health and performance issues through comprehensive clinical diagnostics, a whole of health approach, and advanced biotechnology. Luke and the team at Tailored work to unlock true human potential. Wow. There's a pitch, isn't it? No, it's awesome, Luke, and I actually come in and do the mums and bubs class, and it's sick. So I just wanted to check in, Luke. How you doing? How's the last few months been for you?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. Absolutely loving it, to be honest. I think COVID was just what the world needed in a way. Obviously, there's the negative side of it, but I think there's also enlisted a lot of good things as well. If you look at it from a different perspective. In particular,
what have been those good things for you?
What's that?
What have been those good things for you?
I think that just the ability to slow down. As an A-type personality, I think it's too often we're just kind of just pushing through and just keep driving, but never actually find that time to force and slow down and really take stock, I guess. So it's been extremely powerful, and just finding that time to be with yourself and kind of reflect on what's been and kind of where you want to go. And that's potentially just due to my perspective on everything. I always try to look for the positives within the negatives as well. Because obviously it's a pandemic. It's not a positive thing, but there are good things to pull from any bad situation.
Sounds like mindset's been a really big tool for you over the last couple of months to keep you moving forward.
Oh, absolutely. In particular, I've been knocked back a bit recently with concussion. So I had a pretty serious concussion. What was that, 9 months ago now? No, it's probably coming up just about 10, 12 months, something like that. Last August. So I came racing Ironmans over in Indonesia and came off headfirst into a curb at 45 k's an hour. So
Wow.
It's been a bit of a slow recovery, but so obviously, mindset has been extremely important with that because being an A-type personality, you just want to go, go, go. And when you got a serious concussion, you can't go, go, go. So just slowing down.
Yeah, wow. It's cool you've got so much awareness about that and that you're not forcing or pushing beyond your limits, There's a stretch zone, but then there's I just got to be. This isn't a do thing.
Yeah, the issue is the way you find the stretch zone is by pushing it too much, which I've done.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Yeah, and then pulling it back, because you're like, okay, I know where it is now. I know that level 4 was tricky for many people who have a really set gym routine for their physical and mental health. What was the feedback you were hearing from your members over level 4, and how did you support them when they couldn't meet you or your team in person?
Yeah, so it was a great opportunity for us and for many of my clients as well. So we moved digital. So we just pretty much stripped back all memberships. So we didn't charge anybody, and we just offered as much free information as possible. So I was doing Mindset Monday, Tip Tuesday, Workout Wednesday, Tip Thursday, Fuel Friday, and Summary Sunday, and then a few lives in the mix of all that, and daily workouts as well with our team. So Monday to Friday we had live workouts at 8 a.m. And from that, all our individual clients moved on to digital consults. So we got the insight into how people were living through COVID, which is fascinating. So just it was a great opportunity from my perspective and from my clinician's perspective to see the clients in their natural environment. So we get to see the family dynamics and how that all interplays, especially when you're locked in such a small space and not able to move, and how everybody was coping as a family, as a unit. And you can generally see the stresses bubbling up when people walk past or see a bit of frustration. It was just a really insightful time as a practitioner to kind of get that insight. And it was powerful from the way that I could actually see how my clients were exercising at home. So the exercises I normally give them to go away and do at home, because I'm not a big believer you need to go to a gym to do exercise. I try to give exercise that's based around your lifestyle and how you can do it at home. And I think it was quite cool to see, what couch they were using to do a particular exercise, or what foam roller they had at home, or, just seeing the tools that they had in their disposal. It was quite fascinating.
Yeah, I know. I got really creative with a lot of books and a laundry basket. The Kmart weights sold out so fast, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get creative here about what I'm going to do at home. Malachi was, 9-10 kilos. I think I used him for a few things, and it was actually quite cool to get, use a bit of creative thinking and go, actually, what do I have? And there was like a big sandbag, and yeah, why did we have a sandbag? Anyways, I know. So physical health and mental health are so intertwined, as we know. And for the few weeks of level 4, we really did have a culture of walking and even cycling much more than before, because it was what we were able to do safely. Did you create any new habits for your physical health, or need to adapt your older habits in some way?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the biggest thing I was pushing to my clients, was we have a unique opportunity, an opportunity that we'll never have again, most likely, where we actually have the time to establish these kind of keystone habits. So a keystone habit is those habits which create this cascade of habits on top of it. So it's that one habit that will create that trigger for the following habits. So yeah, it was like, how can we integrate a healthy habits now? Because when we're busy, we get distracted. We don't actually implement them. So yeah, I definitely utilize that time. So for me, I've never been one to not have those practices. Obviously, being health is my number one priority. The way I see health is integrating as part of my life, so I don't actually have to think about it. It is just autonomous. So I have these things sprinkled through my day anyway. In particular, it starts with my morning routine, which is pretty in-depth, which involves, I can go through it if you want.
Yeah, I'm like, what happens when Luke Taylor wakes up?
So I generally wake up and we'll do like a meditation or most recently like a neuroacoustic kind of like binaural beats. How would you call it? Like a biohacker meditation, really. So that just is really opening up my brainwaves in a different way. It's some cool technology I'm playing around with at the moment. Then I would do gratitude. So gratitude journaling, get up. When I was on lockdown, I was lucky enough to be at the Mount. So I would go down to the beach, go for a swim when it was legal, at least in the 2 weeks that it wasn't. But I'd go for a swim, get some earthing, so getting close to the ground to get those negative ions. Then, and obviously some sun exposure as well to kind of reset my circadian rhythm. Then I would do some movement on the beach and come back up. And the biggest habit that I introduced in that period was mouth rinsing. Oil pulling. You've ever heard of that? So pretty much putting like coconut oil in your mouth and just slurring around your mouth for about 20 minutes. Plus I also extended a lot of my practices. So instead of meditating for 5 to 10 minutes, I was meditating for 20 minutes. And cold immersion, obviously, instead of having a cold shower, I was having a cold swim for about 3 to 5 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. The discipline, the devotion,
Yeah.
That's a better word, the devotion. How long will that take to get?
Not too long. Like normally, like in a normal routine, it would take me like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. But obviously, having COVID, I was pushing it out because I had the time. But it's just my non-negotiables. I just have a lot of non-negotiables through my life that there's just no choice in the matter. And I mean, you say as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping those promises to yourself is so important.
Yeah.
I know that you and your team are all about human potential. If we use COVID as a time to reflect and maybe adjust some of our habits, what is some of the potential we could realize? And what does a positive post-COVID world look like to you?
Yeah, I think we all learned some really powerful lessons through COVID, and I saw it through a lot of my clients, but it's sad to see that many people, like not necessarily my clients, but I've seen people that I've talked to over that period have just kind of got distracted from what they had learned. And I'm seeing what I'm seeing at the moment is a post-COVID rebound. So I'm seeing a lot of people actually worse off now as a result because they've just gone through there's this underpinning stress throughout COVID that nobody really addressed because all this uncertainty causes stress. And then when they came back to work, they just went straight back into what they used to do. And if not more so, trying to catch up. And now you can only do that for so long. That chronic load has kind of got to a bit of an apex now, and people are starting to burn out. So that's kind of what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing that a lot of people, a lot of clients that are coming to me at the moment have just burnt out post-COVID after getting back into level 1. But I think that it was really powerful from the purpose of just slowing down, allowing the nervous system to regenerate. Because too often we're in the sympathetic zone, so we're fight or flight. So we're running around trying to get jobs done with our families and, everything all intertwined into our busy lives and then surrounded by technology continuously interrupting us. But we don't actually find that time to stop and slow down, which COVID forced us to, and it was great. And you saw the change in people and how they would be walking down the street and then they'd just smile and say hello. It was beautiful to see that happen again. And it's just, if you walk down the street now, it's gone. Everyone's back into their head down, getting their work done, which is a bit of a shame.
That's a good reminder. That's a really good reminder, Luke. We can smile at people still. Josiah, I'm still smiling, hey. That's a nice reminder, hey. It's just those little things to come back to the present moment, hey. I've got one more question for you, Luke, and then we'll bring Josiah back on, and we've got a question I can see, I think, on the post. If you're watching live with us, now would be a really good time to drop a comment if you have one for Luke or Josiah. So, Luke, do you have any recommendations for people who have taken this as a sign to adjust their lifestyle and health, but maybe don't know where to start?
Yeah, like as with everything, and this was probably the biggest thing that I was preaching over the COVID period as I was trying to provide all this information was don't do too much too soon, because in this day and age, we just want to do this quick change and we want to change instantly and we expect it to be sustainable. But the biggest thing when it comes to habit change, if you look into the science behind it, you need to create that keystone habit that I talked about before and kind of build on that and just slowly introduce it. Start small. So if you want to introduce a meditation practice, don't try and commit to 20 minutes a day. Yeah, it sounds good. You might be able to do it for a week or two, but when the motivation dwindles, so too will your meditation practice. So we really want to start on those real micro kind of goals, and just if we can get that kind of success each time, so we can cross off and complete the habit loop. So with a habit, you got a trigger, which triggers the routine, a routine, which triggers the reward. So if we can create that habit loop and keep it going consistently, you'll be able to establish that habit. So start with 1 minute meditation day, maybe 2 minutes, and then do that for a few weeks, then layer on top of that, and so on and so forth, instead of just trying to take it all on at once and do a meditation practice, a cold immersion practice, or try and replicate my morning routine, which would be silly because that's just not
years of refinement, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah. Oh no, that's so cool, Luke. Thank you so much for sharing so many golden nuggets of wisdom with us tonight. I'm gonna bring Josiah back. Kia ora, Josiah. He's back. Is Groot with you still?
Of course.
Yes. Yeah, he's there.
Groot just there.
We've got a question. What is one change you want to make in your own lives in the next 12 months that came from the things you learned during COVID? And I'll bounce to you, Josiah, first.
I don't know if it's well, the one thing is be more conscious about my carbon emissions. In the previous 12 months to lockdown, I went to quite a few countries for a number of different things, and I've not been able to do that, which has been great. And while it's meant that some of the work I've been doing is starting later, like I might start at 8 o'clock or even later, provided I've got the next morning relatively free, I've just saved lots and lots of emissions that didn't need to be used. And so that's probably the big one, because I feel well in our environments as well.
So good. Thanks for the share. What about for you, Luke?
I think the biggest thing for me was focus and the ability to stop and reflect on what I was doing. I had my fingers in a lot of pies. I was a semi-professional athlete. I was studying. I was grew my new business. I grew from a team of 2 to a team of 14 in like 1 month. And then I had a bunch of other side hustles as well on the go. And I was doing a lot. And because like I said, I'm an A-type and I just want to do a lot of things. So I had to really lean in and focus was the biggest thing I learned. So in doing a bit of a life map of Luke, I outlined everything that I was doing and where my energy was getting taken and what was giving me energy. And I realized that I was overdoing it and had to sit back and lean into what was truly important to me, which is tailored. So that's why I put all my focus into tailored health and performance and moved away from my athlete life for the time being and just going to train for health and general fitness. Yeah.
So good. So good. Such a powerful insight. I am going to add my 2 cents to this one as well. And I think it was what I mentioned to you before, Josiah, about, learning to really sit with discomfort a little bit more and know that sometimes the obstacle is the way, and it's important for us to not avoid discomfort, but to face it head on. And I'm sure that's why you have a cold plunge. Is that what you call it, Luke? Because that major discomfort. But yeah, I love that. Look, team, thank you so much for jumping on tonight. If you're watching this on our replay, or if you're watching live with us now, we're going to pop in the comments for you how you can get in touch with Josiah or Luke if you're wanting to follow their journey or connect with them and ask any more questions. If you've liked this workshop, our live workshop tonight, we'd really encourage you to join our Facebook group. So if you search Seed Waikato Whānau on your Facebook tab, you should be able to find us, and we'll have some more cool conversations in there and keep this momentum going. So that's it from us. I think some golden nuggets for me tonight are just really around the importance of looking after our planet when we're looking after our well-being and how interconnected they are. Totally not forgetting our minds as a important pillar of well-being. Knowing our limits, testing them and pushing them, but knowing where they are and being okay with taking some time to be and just sit. And the importance of honoring those promises to yourself to keep building really strong self-care and well-being routines into our lives. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time, and we will talk soon. Ka kite.
See you later.